usually have shoot around earlier in the day, 10, 11 o'clock, and gives our players the time to get a good meal, and the rest of the day they rest. My head got aside me a little bit because I was angry, to tell the truth, that we were not treated with the same respect as we gave the Windsor Club when they came to Halifax. We allowed them to have full access of our arena as we have with all teams in the league, and we didn't get the same treatment there. And I was angry about that. So normally when we played in Windsor, their team usually practiced around 11 o'clock, and I thought that we would go in early at 9:30 and get an hour in and be gone before the team actually arrived. When we arrived to the arena, the arena was empty, and we started to stretch. We didn't have basketballs or anything. They didn't give us that either. And so we just started to stretch on our own for a little bit, and then the coach came in and asked us to leave. I told him that we were almost done and that we were not leaving. We deserved to be here to get a stretch in and get prepared to play that night. And after that, they cut the lights off in the arena on us, which we thought was rude, and then the players started to come in. At that time, one of our players, Liam McMorrow, went to half court to get a basketball that was out. They had brought out for their players, and went to the other end to shoot. And the coach at that time from Windsor actually walked from the other end of the court to approach Liam to try to take the ball away from him. At that time, a scuffle did break out between Liam and the head coach of the Windsor Express. The majority of their players were not in the gym. If I'm not mistaken, I think only 3 of their players were present. And then a few players actually rushed the floor, and the scrimmage, the confrontation started. All of our players did not participate in the fight. To be honest, I don't know exactly how many people from our side were actually involved with the altercation, but it wasn't many. So it wasn't an all-out team fight because, like I said, when we started leaving the facility, the majority of their players actually started walking into the arena at that time, so it was not involved.
The players say that they felt threatened. That's why they didn't want to play that game. Your thoughts? And they also said that you were in agreement initially with them not to play the game.
Well, I was not in agreement with them. I had a few side meetings. I approached our coach and told Mr. Carros how important it was for this game to be played, and that this would be detrimental to the league. At that time, I also mentioned to him that I would consider playing this game without him, and I would have someone else to actually come in to coach the team, because that game needs to be played. I also had meetings with my players and talked to them about attending the game, the importance of this game being played, and asked them and actually told them that I would consider bringing in another coach. This game was important. There was a lot of people there to watch the game. The game was being aired live back here at home, and this game needs to be played. And they all at that time said they would not play, especially if Pep wasn't coaching the game.
There was an indication in your own remarks that there were some serious issues. If you had to bring a team in under a police escort, it would seem to indicate that there were some serious threats there. Team members say that they had some sort of communication, whether it's emails or other communications indicating that they were threatened. So why wouldn't it be reasonable for them to say, you have to bring in a mediator, if you have to bring in police, if you've already got written evidence, what's unreasonable about them saying that they don't want to play?
Well, I'm not saying it's unreasonable. I'm saying, one, I didn't see emails of threats. The only threat that I heard was upon leaving, when one of their players, and I can't remember exactly who the player was, actually said that you guys are not going to leave this city. I didn't hear further threats other than that. I didn't see any emails that players received, nor was that brought to my attention.
Andre,
and just to finish, actually, in regards to, yes, I wanted this game to be played because I knew the importance of it, but the safety of our players was always first. We had got a call from the Windsor Express team that the mayor and the police chief would make sure that the safety of the game would be there for us.
But if you have to bring in the police, doesn't that tell you just how great a risk there was to the players?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, the emotions was high when we left the arena. I won't deny that. The emotions was high. But at the end of the day, I don't think the threats that the players said that they received, or even the magnitude of the attention that came from that, was warranted. It was just for precautionary measures, just to make sure that everything was safe and secure for that game.
And with respect to the actual practice time,
Yeah.
league rules that we were sent by Coach Carlos, according to these rules, state that when there are limited practice times available, the visiting club gets their choice of available times. So why are you apologizing?
Apologizing to Windsor?
Well, what it says, you're a
Apologizing
visiting
for the
club,
situation.
right?
No.
So the rule, according to this, states that when there are limited practice times available, the visiting club gets their choice of available times. So was Halifax in the wrong?
No. I'm apologizing because they gave us a practice time to be there, and I chose to switch the practice time. So if I would have done the right thing and gone when it was time for us to practice, this incident wouldn't occur. So for that, I take full responsibility.
Why don't you protest as someone though? Because it says further, the home club cannot practice unless similar, suitable, and mutual agreeable arrangements are made for the visiting club. So why do you say, hey, we get a choice of when we practice first?
If you knew, for the last couple of days when I was there, and the owner of the Windsor Express just happens to be my best friend, we had some pretty heated conversations because they would not give me a different time. So I tried for the last couple of days to actually get a better practice time, and I was denied that.
Well, isn't there someone to take over and say, Windsor, you have to give them this practice time? And apparently you didn't even get any practice time on Monday.
Phone the league president. I mean, if it's right in the rules, as he says, that you're supposed to get the time, why didn't you get it?
There's no league president.
At the end of the day,
Well, okay, you're right, the ombudsman or whatever.
yeah, at the end of the day, like I said in my statement, the league has a lot of work to do. Things are not perfect. We got a lot of work to do to address and clean up a lot of things to move this league forward. And some of those things are things that we have to discuss in the summer. But I think the Windsor Express, and their hands are not clean in this either. You know, they could have stepped up and gave us a practice time, especially when the arena was not being used. I don't see the harm in granting us a better
When
time.
Windsor played here, what practice times did they have?
I'm not sure.
Approximate, you must know.
No. What I've told them and what I've told any team that ever comes is, my only concern is what time our club practice. If the coach says we're going to practice from 10 to 11:30, I tell the visiting team you can have any practice.
Were they
time
after you?
They were after us, yes.
They were, so they may have been at 1 o'clock.
No, they definitely wasn't.
But you
They
said
were-
you don't know.
No. They never practiced, no club practiced from 1 o'clock on. Every team that comes to Halifax, and for most arenas across the league, they have an early practice so their guys can get something to eat in the rest.
How
This-
fair
this
is
could
this
all been
practice?
avoided.
You've got sanctions against individuals, sanctions, lifetime sanctions against the coaches. How fair a system is this when you don't have a commissioner, any independent body looking at this? You've got a group of owners like yourself who are saying, hey, those are my employees, let's do this. Is that a reasonable way to conduct
No, actually, it's not. You know, this league has, this year, we've had turnover. We had a commissioner that was released, and it was halfway through the season, so we didn't put anyone in place to make those decisions. So basically, it was a group of owners that was trying to govern the league until the end of the season, so we can put someone in place that has a personality and authority to kind of shape and mold the way the leagues needs to be run.
Do you have a hard time retaining a president?
No, to finish.
Sorry,
we have, like I mentioned, we have a lot of work to do. You know, we have to get somebody that is going to govern the league in the right way and put rules and processes in place to make sure that there's accountability. There's accountability for refs. This series, as you know, was extremely physical. You know, which is one of the things that came up, and these are some of the things that we discussed with our director of officials throughout the playoff series. It was extremely physical, and there were some players on both sides that probably should have been suspended for a few games, if not more, from some hits and from over physical play. And because things wasn't in place with the league, some of those things got passed, and it's not fair. So I'm not saying that the players didn't have a legitimate reason for feeling a certain way, but when I was told by the mayor, when I was told by the police chief that we just want to put some precautionary things in place to make sure that players are safe, I was comfortable with feeling that the game could have went on as planned without a confrontation.
But do you believe that the players got justice, that the team got justice, that there's a reasonable system of justice that took place in all this? And were you a part of the discussions on the fines?
No, I was on the phone with our board, and as you know, we were fined pretty harshly as well as an organization. The board is not a vote. I don't get a vote when it's against my organization. Unanimously put these fines in place against the players and the coaches and myself.
Is it fair?
Well, whether it's fair or not, at the end of the day, the game has to be played. At the end of the day, the game has to be played. Now, it doesn't always make it right or fair. You're going to get both sides. Do I think the players should have lifetime bans from the league? Absolutely not. The players, I felt, were misled, to be totally honest. I think, and I asked my players this in the meeting that when I was speaking with them, that if the coach had stood in front of you guys and said, there was an altercation, let's calm down, let's get our head right and be prepared to play tonight, would you guys have played? And a few of our players said, that's a good question. So I think if our coach would have been the leader and stood in front of you guys and calmed things down, I think this game could have been played without any problems at all.
Yeah, but you also said you
why
were
did they
the
follow the coach and not the owner?
Say that again?
Why did they follow the coach and not the owner? You paid the bills.
Well, I mean, it's professional sports. I mean, you build relationships with your coach. Your coach fights for you every day. No one cares about the owner. Only when they get paid. That's all they care about, and that's okay. You know, a lot of these players I built relationships with. A few of these players played with us in the championship series before. We spent the last 3 years I spent trying to get Coach Karas back. You know, so this was a bit of a dream year, I would say. You know, it had, like I said, all the ingredients to be a miracle year. And I was extremely excited about this season. In terms of our players, this is probably the best group of guys we've ever had in Halifax. You know, and I had said to somebody maybe a few weeks ago that these guys is a joy to be around. You know, they were extremely good gentlemen, and I'm sorry that they are put in this situation because they didn't deserve it.
How do you expect to find a new coach and players to play next year if they're listening to something like this and hearing you blame a lot of it on the coach?
Well,
The man you call the very best coach in the world, Andre, outside
absolutely.
the NBA.
And I stick by that. Coach Karas is a great coach. Unfortunately, I think his actions were wrong at that particular time. I think it was a situation that we were offered different scenarios to resolve this issue. When there's a conflict or confrontation, I think individuals can sit down to discuss how you can fix the situation. I think if we would have sat down and Coach could have listened a little bit more how the safety of the players, we could have resolved the matter. It's not that we're neglecting that the players felt a certain way, because if they're saying that they fear for their safety, then that's their reality. That's not saying that they're wrong feeling that way. But as leaders, I think we have to be the ones to go back to them